Welcome everyone to another video, and today we are going to take a look at a team that I've been using in the Galar Cup with quite a bit of success. I went 8-2 with this team so far, and it is a very tanky team in the form of Diggersby, Toxapex and Mandibuzz. So what we have is a very Pokemon that you need a heavy investment in Diggersby, which I think you require to be almost to level 50, and then you also have Toxapex, which will go to at least level 40. I think you can get away with that one to just being at that level without the XL candy. And then you also have Mandibuzz. So Mandibuzz and Toxapex are quite staple Pokemons in the GBL Great League meta. Diggersby, it is very situational and a bit more of a spice pick. However, in this format, which is the Galar Cup, it is very much some of the top picks available out there. So we are going to get into the videos here, and then as we can see here, the good part about this team is that it is very safe into most Pokemon. So even things such as Quagsire, where you normally see ground types like Diggersby struggle, you do have a chance against it, because in this format I believe you would want to run a Mud Bomb variant of a Quagsire instead of Aqua Tail, especially for the steel types that are in this meta. And as you can see here, they immediately swap up into Whimsicott, in which case that we can just swap into our Toxapex and just hard wall it. We don't even need to use shields in this instance. And even though Grass Knot does hit like a truck, especially with Whimsicott's high attack, we are able to tank 2 of those and still come out with a relatively bit of health and a lot of energy for when the Quagsire comes back, or for whatever the third mon is, and they do come in with a Quagsire, and we will be able to throw in this brine. And the thing is, with Toxapex, you cannot farm them down from this range. So usually with red health, you can farm them down, but because Toxapex is such a tank, you would need to throw a charge move into Toxapex before it gets to another charge move, like in this instance. So even though Quagsire does have a lot of energy there, they immediately swap out again into the Abomasnow for some reason, which I guess is fair enough, because Abomasnow does sort of counter Diggersby, but then again Diggersby does have a Fire Punch to counter that pivot. However, as you can see here, because even though Diggersby is almost like a level 50, I think mine is like level 49.5, it does not do much to Abomasnow even with a double super effective move in the form of Fire Punch. That being said, this team can take hits, which means that you will not you will not pressure your shields as much, especially in the early game. However, you can choose whether or not to shield that first attack on the Diggersby and then try to fish for the Scorching Sands debuff if you want to. And as you can see here, we are just going to farm them down with a quick attack from our Diggersby, because quick attack does a lot more damage compared to Mud Shot in this instance for Diggersby, and we do come up with a lot of energy where we can just throw it to the Abomasnow and take them out. So this, for the first game, was relatively straightforward. However, you can see here what is the bad part about this team is that with this Diggersby lead, or with this team in general, you will struggle a bit against a Whimsicott lead, because we are ABA weak to Mandibuzz to Whimsicott, I'm sorry, because our Mandibuzz is part dark type and it will get hit hard by the Fairy Wind as well as the Moonblast that can come out from the Whimsicott. But Diggersby can sort of hold its own, can tank one Grass Knot if needed, and we can throw the Fire Punches at them and outspeed them, especially in the lead. So So we can throw this next fire punch, threaten a shield from them, and we can debate whether or not we should shield their attack. But since we already we already reached our fire punch in this instance, we might as well shield it. Maybe we can get a second shield, or we can switch advantage here away from them. So as you can see here, Diggersby, very tanky. He can spam those moves because quick attack has 8 energy generation per quick attack, and he can spam those 40 and 50 energy charge moves quite frequently. You need at max about 6.5 or 7 seconds to get to a charge move. So it's quite spammy in this instance compared to things such as like this Gudra that the opponent has, where even though it does have things that are super effective against all of our Pokemon here in this team, it charges very slowly comparatively with that Dragon Breath damage, and our Mandibuzz is able to take them out even with an energy deficit against them, and we are able to come out with a little bit less than half health and go against this Pangoro. And this Pangoro is a Pokemon that also got buffed in this previous season when Karate Chop was buffed in the move updates. I think now Karate Chop is the fast move of choice if you're a fighting type, and if you do have access to it. Relatively speaking, Karate Chop is not really that widespread in terms of its availability, but as you can see here, Pangoro could not do anything with it against the Toxapex that is waiting for it in the back. So, and this is the ugly part about the team, is that when you have something like a Steelix and a Drifblim in a team, you can sort of estimate that you are going to be in this match for the long run, because things like Steelix and Drifblim do not generally do that much damage. Plus, when you have Drifblim that has debuff moves such as Icy Wind and Mystical Fire, they are able to debuff your attack, and in this instance they farm up way too much for my liking and don't want them to bank too much energy, and we decided to just swap into our Mandibuzz and force them to throw their energy at our Mandibuzz. And if they had thrown Icy Winds here, it would have been a little bit more uncomfortable for us because it would have been super effective. But as you can see here, they throw Mystical Fires instead, which means that it's neutral. Even though we do get debuffed, it does not do that much damage against us. And even though we are double debuffed from the double Mystical Fire, we are still able to do relatively a lot of damage here on the Shadow Steelix. And they are not trying, and I think they are trying to farm us down here, which means that we are going to get to a third charge move here if they don't throw. And if they throw, and the moveset that is usually used by Steelix is usually resisted by Mandibuzz in this case, so they had to throw the higher power but higher damage Crunch because it's a single resisted charge move against the Mandibuzz, as opposed to a double resisted Psychic Fans, in which case will not even do enough damage to take us out. So here we are going to meet a Mandibuzz at the back, so another tanky team on the opponent side. So with this team, because you don't do that much damage, you would hope that maybe your opponent are using more frail Pokemon, because in that instance when they use more frail Pokemon, then at least you're able to put shield pressure on them early on, even though your damage is not that much. But in this instance, when both teams are dragging their heals in, using tanky mons, using debuff mons, you can see that this game will drag on. But they do let their Steelix go down, which I find very odd, but maybe they were expecting a Sludge Wave instead. But we do know better than to throw the high energy charge move in when they have a shield left. So we are going to wait this out a bit, try to not throw on alignment so that they don't get a free fast move in. And as you can see here, Fire Punch also doesn't do much, but the Quick Attack does add up in this endgame, especially when both sides have one shield, both sides trying to figure out when is the other going to throw their charge moves. And we are going to see here where this tankiness is going to come into play here. We are going to drag out this team battle as much as possible, and Diggersby does win a CMP tie against them, and we will get their second shield to finally take them out with a Toxapex. And we're going to let this Diggersby go down if they did actually take them down. And in this instance, you can see that the timer is already coming out. You can shield this charge move and can safely win this game with a timeout win. So as a wrap up, this team is very stable. You can get a lot of wins with this if you are patient with it, and if you are able to pivot properly in the matchups. So if you feel like this team is for you, feel free to use it. The mons are what you can get it anywhere. I think it was quite common. They had a few events where you can get it. So that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please do like and comment down below if this video is beneficial, and do subscribe if you want to get notified for further videos in the future. And that's all from me, and I'll see you in the next one.